Good morning, Jeremie. What more are we learning and watching for from this meeting?
Yeah, good morning, Renee. Look, details are still limited. The Prime Minister's office not confirming, when this meeting will happen, exactly where it's going to happen. What we've seen with Trump in recent meeting with other world leaders is kind of that infamous now almost, Oval Office sit down. He did it with Keir Starmer. He did it with Volodymyr Zelensky. It's not clear if that'll be the exact same thing we'll see with Prime Minister Mark Carney. What we do know is the two have talked and are planning to meet, sooner than later. Donald Trump alluded yesterday to that happening, in the next week or so. Again, Mark Carney's team hasn't confirmed, Prime Minister Mark Carney's team hasn't confirmed a timeline, but this will be, a highly important meeting and is a highly anticipated meeting. We know that even during a phone call in March when the two spoke, they had talked about meeting following the Canada's election and afterwards, talking about a new trade deal. That is the big thing here as well, is that the two have already started conversations about a new Canada-U.S.-Mexico agreement, CUSMA as we know it here, of course, in Canada. And so it would appear that both sides are already willing to have a conversation and talk about that. And everyone will be watching closely about the tone of this meeting, visually what it looks like. This will be kind of an all eyes on the White House kind of day when the two meet face to face, as this was a pivotal focus point for this election. How would the candidate, in this case, the successful candidate was Prime Minister Mark Carney, handle Donald Trump in these meetings, in these negotiations? Of course, we are still facing the threat of tariffs, some tariffs already in effect, impacting some industries here in Canada. And so how quickly can Mark Carney start the conversation, perhaps get a new trade deal, underway, or negotiations underway for a new trade deal with Donald Trump that could hopefully benefit Canadians when it comes to the impact of these tariffs. So a lot on the line here. This will be a highly anticipated and highly important meeting, Renee.
I can imagine a lot of people will be watching that with bated breath, Jeremie. Also a lot of talk about Poilievre, especially there where you are in Ottawa, and what's next for him after he lost his seat, Jeremie.
Yeah, a lot of big question marks when it comes to Pierre Poilievre and what comes next for the Conservative Party. We've heard from some Conservatives who are, steadfast that he will be the leader moving forward for the party, that he deserves to remain as the party leader. We've also heard from some sources that, he is calling grassroots members, shoring up support, gauging how people are feeling, trying to determine his next move. Certainly in his speech, it was not the speech of someone, post-election speech I'm talking about here. It was not the speech of someone who seems to intend to step down as party leader. There are also big questions about what happens in the House of Commons once Parliament resumes, once the next parliamentary sitting starts. Because, of course, having lost his own riding, Pierre Poilievre will not have a seat in the House of Commons. He can remain the leader of the Conservative Party. That's no problem. But he will not be able to maintain his role as official opposition leader or official opposition leader in the House of Commons without a seat in the House of Commons. That means a number of things. There are questions swirling here in Ottawa about Stornoway, Pierre Poilievre's residence, which is the residence of the leader of the official opposition. That is a parliamentary role, which means you have to have a seat in Parliament to be able to hold that role. There are questions about what happens with that residence, whether or not he can stay there without being able to serve as the official leader of the opposition, at least as it stands. Of course, we could see a situation where there's a by-election, he takes over a seat, and then all is well, he'll have a seat again and could remain. But until that happens, the Conservative Party will have to appoint someone else as the official leader of the opposition party in the House of Commons, at least, while Poilievre would remain leader of the Conservative Party. There are a lot of different situations that could play out here, a lot of questions swirling. It is not clear yet what will happen next for Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party, Renee.
That is very interesting. CTV's Jeremie Charron reporting for us from Ottawa. Thanks for this, Jeremie.